Welcome to the Gnarly Girls podcast.
What's up, gnarly beings?
This is a loose-lipped, unfiltered, raw-dogging, stripping down of culture.
No fucks, no panties. This is a labia of love.
We're your hosts, Tony Naj
and Serafina Supernova. And this is Gnarly Girls.
What's up, Sarah?
Hi, Tony.
Today on Gnarly Girls, we're going to talk about OnlyFans.
OnlyFans, when OnlyFans is the only option.
So we're diving into this not just from a cultural journey, but also the personal journey of Sarah's new OnlyFans launch.
It's true. I launched it on the Scorpio full moon like a good witch. And then I breastfed this baby in private for a few days. I soft launched in the DMs to people who had gotten my attention from their many responses to my stories, decided to capitalize immediately, and the public launch happened just a few hours ago.
Wow. Okay. So how are you feeling? Genuinely, how are you feeling? Excited, nervous, trepidatious? Like, where's your head at?
My palms are wet. I have never sweat so much in my life while making an Instagram post. I feel super tender, but also I feel very in touch with like my inner teenager and how I've just like always wanted to post slutty photos and videos of myself on the internet. And I've been so frustrated for so many years not being able to do that on Instagram or content getting flagged. And I just feel excited that I have truly so much content saved in a folder on my phone from the last couple years, and now I get to monetize it. But I feel complicated about the platform. And hello to your dog Luna. If you're not watching us, just a reminder, you can also always watch on YouTube.
Okay, there's obviously like a macro conversation around OnlyFans as a platform.
OnlyFans.
Only flan.
Get your spoons.
So, I mean, I do want to talk about the platform itself, and I do want to discuss a more like cultural analysis. So, what are you more interested in talking about first? The micro penis or of your own life, or the macro vagina of the cultural implications of all this? Where are you at personally? Micro penis or macro vag?
I would like to start with the macro vag and put a phrase on the table that I've seen on social media a lot that I think might be a nice portal to our conversation. Are you ready?
Okay. Yeah, I'm ready.
OnlyFans detected, opinion rejected. Have you seen this on social media?
No. Tell me, what is it?
So like when there's like, bop girls, as they're called, bop people, bop theys and gays, whoever, bop men, mostly women though, on social media, I've been seeing this comment show up over and over and over again from just like random men, which is OnlyFans detected, opinion rejected. So usually it's like some hot slut talking about her thoughts on the world. But if she has an OnlyFans specifically, or if it seems like it's that kind of content where she's giving like hot bitch energy, usually the response in the comments is a rejection of her intelligence, of anything else she might have to offer and say. And I've been thinking about this a lot, and I think it's so interesting because it feels representative of the way that women are objectified, but then the moment that you can't use them for their bodies, no longer are they relevant. So they're slobbering all over you if they can have access to you, if they can objectify you, if they can use you. But the moment there's like something in opposition to this, and maybe this comes in with like Madonna whore complex as well, it's like you can't be a bop and also have shit to say. And I think that like split psychologically is representative of the way that women are objectified and used.
Yeah, I had not heard that. That is very indicative, I think, of objectification is a bit of a buzzword, although I agree with it. But just to peel the layer, into a more like complex nuance, it's almost as if there is this like intentional, not it's not even just programmed, it's not even just like, oh, this is my conditioning. There is an intentional and specific desire to hold on to the idea of seeing woman's value as exclusively around your dick and your boner. And when a woman is engaging with like dick and boner energy, that is so much more in not only like important, but that lens is so like wide open. Like the aperture is so wide that the human aspect of her disappears. So objectification at its root is dehumanization. And when you are dehumanizing woman, you are dehumanizing yourself. And I think that's what people, these men need to understand when they're engaging in like this dehumanizing behavior, because we're seeing it played out in like war culture as well. When you refuse to see and as another person as human, that has this like deeper impact on your humanity and on your spiritual path that I just don't think can be denied.
Well, it's representative, I think, of the way that folks like engage with like the ecosystem. And I was actually just talking about this with my husband yesterday, just in terms of business and the way that like people who understand plants and nature, but are also in business space, I think have a fundamentally different approach to the way that resources are exchanged and money is moved, because there's this understanding that energy can't be created or destroyed, and there's actually no lack of resource. Um, there's just a reorganization of the system. And I think when people don't understand nature, the body, ecosystems, then they're fundamentally operating from a scarcity mindset, which also feels very closely connected to objectification, because it's just you're not thinking holistically about things. Like this person, if they have an OnlyFans, if they do sex work, they can only be this one thing. There's no way a smart woman with multiple degrees and a brain would decide of her own right to do sex work. Like the unfathomability of that, I think, is representative of also the way that we like sanitize women and the feminine. And also, my last point on this, I feel like it also is pointing to the way that we like see the goddess and the divine feminine. Like she is like holy and sacred, and she is Mary, and Gabriel is coming to visit her and put a spirit baby in her body. And that has nothing to do with sex or intercourse or the sexuality of her body. It's actually just nice and just sweet. Um, and so I'm always interested in expanding the faces of the goddess and the divine feminine. And so, yes, OnlyFans detected, opinion rejected. I can't wait to get my first comment like that. So we can really go in.
Well, I mean, you're bringing up a lot of things, which is this idea of the Immaculate Conception. It is just like deeply baked into this concept of not wanting to see your mother as a whore, right? No one wants to think of their mother fucking. It's like a disturbing reality. So it's like you have this Immaculate Conception in order to purify the archetype and the role of mother.
Yes.
And you said something kind of um triggering for me, in the sense that you were like, why would a woman with multiple degrees choose this, like choose sex work? And I was like, yeah, like I think it definitely pressed up against my own, cultural conditioning of who is choosing this work and why. And I think that's why we're calling this like when OnlyFans is the only option, because it is uncovering, or it's poking at, or it's like undressing this concept of desperation, right? So is sex work always coming from a place of desperation? Obviously not, but there is this cultural assumption that it is. And, I want to challenge that within myself, obviously, but I want to also ask you, do you feel desperate? Like what is your relationship to desperation around this decision? And is it just one thing? Can you say that maybe it is a part of it, but it doesn't have to be the sole driving force, or where are you at with that?
Oh my goddess, so many ways to answer this. So something I wrote in my journal earlier this week when I was processing this was desperation versus making sovereign choices in a desperate system.
I love that.
Yeah. Desperation versus making sovereign choices in a desperate system. I think that we are feeling the impact of the tariffs and the shifting economy. Just earlier today, before we hopped on, we were talking about what's happening across the world and the continued genocide. And I could answer this so many ways. There's things that I'm like tempted to reveal that I think maybe I should like hold and reveal in time, which also brings me to the way that like I'm using this to work on my boundaries and my own self-worth and kill the people pleaser inside of me. I'm already getting requests for content to appear at a quicker rate that I'm comfortable with. And I feel like that is also representative of rape culture, grape culture. And the same themes come up, right? Like when you open access and you say this is available, you're immediately met with energy coming towards you. And then you're met with your own consciousness in terms of like, do you respect yourself enough for something to be a full body yes before you offer it? And that has historically been really hard for me to like feel into. I think also as a survivor of abuse, like what does yes feel like? When the original imprint was like, I didn't get to say yes or no. Like in early childhood sexual abuse, it's just happening. And so you're just like, it's happening and you're in it and you're a part of it. But a sovereign choice was never made. So I think negotiating this desperate system, feeling my own like inner desperation, and then trying to like meet that with my own sovereign choice and my pleasure to like explore my own sexuality. Like, can this be fun and pleasurable for me? Like, can I heal parts of myself that perhaps I wouldn't be able to without strangers on the internet? So, in one sense, like, yes, this is another facet of my business now. This is an agreement of exchange. I am offering something and people are paying for it. The desperation feels like it's going to continue to get worked out. Like, I'm not going to say that I don't have a desperate bitch inside of me, because I do. And she comes out and she shows up in the way that I overwork and overgive all the fucking time, even when it has nothing to do with sex. But then I'm like, is everything sex? Is everything always sex and intercourse? Like, are we always just negotiating these like is all energy sexual, and are we always just kind of in that negotiation? So I am going meta with it in my like personal processing, but my thesis would be desperation versus making sovereign choices in a desperate system. And we can talk about also OnlyFans as a platform in general and how there's not really a lot of options also if this is the kind of work that you want to do.
Um, I think the thing that is clear to me, is that you and I are a bunch of dirty, nerdy dorks.
I'm a
Okay.
dirty, nerdy girl.
I mean, like, you're obviously someone who, thinks deeply, is educated, has a vast vocabulary, has complex thoughts, is trying to look at things from a cultural and anthropological lens. Okay. So it is like challenging, I think, because it's like on the one hand, well, Sarah, you have all these degrees. There's so many things you can be doing with your degrees in your mind. Your mind is so active. So why are you choosing to use your body in this way? Why are you choosing to exploit your body? Why are you choosing to commodify your body when your mind is there to be commodified? And then I'm also, thinking of being a dancer, like you've been a dancer your whole life, and there is the clay of the body is what one uses in the art form of dance. So there has been an objectification of your body through dance beyond whatever other body traumas you've experienced, like that in and of itself. And it makes me think of like war culture in the sense of the soldier's body as a commodity. I think the sex and war thing is so intimately tied because the female body within sex work, or whoever's body, but you happen to be a female, your body is the commodity, and in war, that body is the commodity. And um I do think, like, we've talked about this in a video we made, and I want to re-release that video. But the connection between war and sex work is we have a couple things to talk about. But number one, I remember when we were making that video, we learned how you could not have any sort of period on OnlyFans at all. No menstrual blood. And this is, I think, across a couple different sex working platforms and pornography even, and even strippers have to like either wear a sponge or a diva cup. Like there is no evidence of blood. And the idea that the reason why, especially with OnlyFans, is that the intermediary between the customer and the platform is the credit card companies, is Visa. And Visa does not want your period blood. Like the credit card companies are having direct censorship ideologies being impacted by what sex work women or bleeding women or people with ovaries, menstruating humans, however, the credit card companies does not want that blood, even though the credit card companies is responsible for the blood of war. The credit card companies are responsible for the blood of genocide. But it's like, oh, I don't like jerking off to period blood, so can't handle that. So I think it is like this contradiction of the war culture and the commodification of the bodies is like, it is comical because we made a comedy video about it.
No, it is truly, it's funny, it's representative. It makes me, I mean, I'm such a rule breaker. Knowing that that's not allowed is making me be interested in creating a phone number that like sex workers use that's different than my phone number. And you can do business in the DMs on OnlyFans and do like tip in videos and pay-per-view stuff. But I'm already interested, and this is the CEO inside of me, of making sure, just like Instagram isn't my only funnel to access my clients. I have a newsletter where I essentially own their emails, to use digital marketing terms, but I don't think anyone owns anything or anyone. But I have those emails in my database. Let's just say if I got shut down or something, I have that backup. I want to use OnlyFans in the same way, where this just happens to be the software that gives me what I want. I'm a digital marketing nerd. I know so much about different softwares. I'm always looking for the software that's going to let me do what I want to do. I tried to launch it on Patreon, and last minute, it was truly like 1 a.m. on the Scorpio full moon. And I realized that you can't actually do sex work on Patreon. I had been told different things. It had seemed different when I had done research, and then I went to get it approved, and it was like, no, this is basically going to get shut down. So I was like, okay. And I hadn't been able to start an OnlyFans last year because my social security card last name was different than my business bank account. So they told me it looked like I was trying to pimp myself out. And, all divine.
Do they use that language?
They didn't email me and says, it
Oh,
looks like you're trying to pimp yourself out. But in so many words, they were like, we try to protect creators and make sure that someone else isn't like running their account and monetizing like Britney Spears or Lindsay
Yeah.
or whoever else. So I do like appreciate that, I suppose. It was protecting me from me. I don't think I was ready. So like bless up to divine timing and process, but it happened to work Monday night and I was like, bada boom, baby, bada bing, we are in, we are doing this thing. And so I kind of want to like play OnlyFans. I want to play OnlyFans. I want to get all these contacts, start my own little private something. Right now I'm using the software. Who knows how long I use it. I don't love that they tried to shut it down and take OnlyFans away from sex workers until they realized that sex workers make like 97% of the platform's income. And the guy who is the owner of the company, also owns My Free Cams, and like verdicts out on this guy and if he's a Zionist and like where the OnlyFans platform money goes to. I obviously feel very complicated about that, which brings me back to desperation versus making sovereign choices in a desperate system. Like the fact that you can't do sex work on Patreon, the fact that there's only like a couple of platforms where you can do this, you can't even like set your social media to a certain level of sensitivity where you could share content like this. It's just not out there. So you're forced essentially, if you want to do work like this, other than camming websites, to use OnlyFans. It's like the Amazon of sex.
Yeah, it's a monopoly. And in that monopoly, like, does that owner of the monopoly, is he a major supporter of genocide?
Verdict
Some
is
say so.
out. Well, so he's like a software developer, like computer nerd guy. So when I was like following the paper trail, it's like, what software has he invested in and what has that software been used for in war, in genocide? Like,
And the AI is like, the tech world in general is very invested in war.
yeah.
And so, I mean, I'm going to say that like there is a direct connection between the OnlyFans website and like funding war, but also between all of Silicon Valley. So that is complex because we use technology as a means of dissent, and then technology uses us as a means of supporting the status quo. And I think that choreography, the dance of that, is incredibly contradictory and upsetting. And there is no answer.
Yeah. I mean, something else I definitely want to bring up.
Well, I guess the answer would be that you would just like go up to random people and be like, "Hey, give me $100 for this picture of me."
I'm kind of like that. I feel like having this platform is empowering me, or using this software to promote this platform. Like Serafina Supernova's Vault is its own thing. Trademark that bitch tomorrow. Like that has nothing to do with OnlyFans. I'm just using that software. And I don't care about being associated with it. It's not like I don't want that mark and I don't want people to like associate my art with OnlyFans. I feel like that's similar to like burlesque dancers being like, I'm not a stripper. And it's like, bitch, fucking burlesque comes from stripping. What the fuck are you talking about? I fucking hate white women being a white woman. So it's always some like white woman with like a million rhinestones and like a rich husband that's like, I'm not adjacent to sex work or stripping. Burlesque is my art. And it's like, get a life and do some research.
Oh,
The other thing,
stripping is an art and is incredibly difficult.
stripping is the hardest part of burlesque, other than costuming, because I am tragic at like tiny little rhinestones and glue and sewing. It's not my gift. But stripping is truly the hardest part. As a dancer, I'm like, give me a high kick, give me a leap. Stripping in a way that you're breathing and you're not disassociating and you're not rushing and you're not tripping over your feet. So hard. Something else I do want to say is one of Max's family members subscribed today, which was interesting. I've had like different people from like the past kind of pinging in. I've been watching for a while in terms of people watching my Serafina Supernova stories. It connects to my personal Facebook. Like my family is on there. People know like this isn't something I'm trying to hide. In the same way, I'm not hiding my burlesque. I'm not hiding comedy. I'm not hiding any of it. I'm like, here it all is. I'm actually going to do this in a way like pussy in your face that like this to me feels part of the activism and like the performance art. Like, I'm going to put this pussy in your face and I'm going to make you confront all the things that it brings up for you. All the ways that people are already saying they're worried about me and am I okay and projecting onto me. I'm like, well, turns out no one's actually paying my small business administration loan. And it just keeps going up. And the hardship accommodation plan is gone because all of the like recirculating and defunding of things on like a governmental program level. So I'm like, I don't really fucking care. If you're not paying my loan off for me, if you're not putting a lot of money in my bank account, I'm talking like 40 grand a month, I don't really fucking care what you think about what I'm doing, because this is what I got to do so I can be debt free and take these bitches on vacation and hire us an admin assistant, because I'm done doing admin for like 7 businesses. I'm not burnt out. I'm like burning with desire to just make $40,000 a month. That's my money goal.
Hot. I mean, I gotta say, I have this like very it's like maybe it's superficial, but I don't think it's wrong. It's like when someone looks good, I'm like, "Oh, you're fine." Like you can really see suffering on a person's face, or like if something is going on, there is a display. And even if you're a beautiful person, you can still look beautiful, but there's something, when you can see it in their eyes, you can see the missing glow or the missing spark. Like, and I think you look very sparky and very pretty and very full of life. Like, I am not concerned, just so you know.
I didn't.
And I feel as if you know what you're doing and you're experimenting and you are taking this on with like full consciousness and full thought. Like, this is something that you and I have been talking about for I think over a year. This has been something you've been like debating and thinking about and percolating on. So to be clear, I have zero concerns. And I think that I'm interested in your process and the way that you are looking to be honest with yourself about it, because I think that is going to be really helpful to others. Either people who are like, I don't understand how anyone can do sex work, to that archetype and like the judgmental archetype, and those who are like considering it but wanting to do it in a way where they feel proud, like rather than
Proud.
shameful.
I feel
Yeah.
proud. I love to trigger. I love to shock. It's in my astrology. It's in my nature. I love to get paid. And sex work is also ancient. Like, it might sound like goofy and dumb, but I did write this in my caption this morning when I announced it. Like, in my truest soul and bones. And this is where like I like meet the projection of desperation, and I like nom on it for myself to digest and process like what part of that's true and what part of that is cultural. Um, Sex work is ancient. I feel like I have truly done a form of this work in every single lifetime. If the state didn't exist, if there was no more means of exchange, if money disappeared, if we were living in some utopian village and I got to choose what I do, I would want some like pretty little temple where I could just be hot and naked all day long, reading tarot and giving people like Kundalini inspired healings. Does that mean like I want a dick in every hole? Not every day. But does it mean I'd be against that? No. Like, I think, and this is sometimes something I also think about, like, what part of our sexuality is informed by our trauma, especially like super kinky bitches who are survivors of early childhood sexual abuse. Like, how much of that kink, how much of that hypersexuality is a result of the trauma, and how much of that is actually just a part of like the blueprint on like a human design, like astrological cosmic level. And this is something I've thought about a lot, especially when I first started doing burlesque. Like, what part of this is unconscious and what part of this is something that I desire and I'm saying that full body yes to. And this is really controversial, but when I've like gone into deep like yin yoga meditations about this and just been like journaling or like working with plant medicine around it, what I've been shown is like not to like absolve the man who sexually abused me as a child and like actually the multiple people who were involved in that, not to absolve them of responsibility, but I'm pretty sure I came out the womb a hot baby. And I don't mean that in like a pedo way. I think that I was a hot baby. I was an enticing toddler. I feel like we've talked about this before where like especially adults who feel lonely will like latch on to like a little being who's like aware of their surroundings and can kind of like befriend the adult. And I'm not saying I asked to be sexually abused. I'm not saying it's my fault. I am saying this is a controversial processing of my own experience separate from everyone else's. Like I can see where there was like a little bit of a je ne sais quoi to me even as a baby, that like this was part of my soul contract. And I also think it's controversial to say like I am in agreement with what I've survived, but I am. It's not to say like I would choose that again. I don't think we're choosing. I think like the quantum field is just like responding. We're like walking our paths. So I do feel that I came into this lifetime with some codes from a past lifetime as a holy whore. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, I guess I have two responses to that.
I had to also say hot baby on the podcast.
One, I think I'm gonna say that like what I'm hearing as your friend and as someone who cares about you and loves you deeply is there is a part of that rationale that is like rooted in wanting to feel in control of a situation that is unfathomable.
For sure.
You know, because really like what happens to young children around sexual abuse is so uh it has such like demonic energy because it is like sucking the innocence of a child, and that can never be returned in the same way. Not that healing can't take place, et cetera, but there is this this energy behind it. And I am empathetic to the idea of like wanting to feel in control by being like, oh, I have an understanding that as a child I had an essence, and that essence was part of my appeal, rather than like, oh, people are predators, and when they have access to a child, they're going to use whatever child they have access to, you know? And I think that like that is probably, like what I want to say to that inner hot ass baby of yours is like, no matter how hot you are, the energy that you were asking for was unconditional love and acceptance. And the energy that you instead received was perverted, you know? And that desire for unconditional love and acceptance was genuine, you know? So I just wanted to like remind your hot ass baby of that. And then the other thing that you said that was interesting. Oh God, what were you were saying? You had 2 points. What was your other point? Do you happen to remember?
Doing this work in other lifetime sex work.
Oh, yeah. Yes. I think that, you really are someone who's interested in the healing arts, genuinely. And like when you um, work with people, you are concerned about their well-being on a deep level. You want to tap in to their higher self. Like there is this very like authentic interest in healing. And I think that you bring that to all the things that you're going to be doing. You're going to bring that to the art you do. You're going to bring that to your dancing. You're going to bring that into your comedy. Like healing is going to be an underlying impulse. So, I mean, we had talked about this privately, but I do think that like, you spoke to me a lot about this idea of being a healing force in the lives of those that you are interacting with. So it's not just about like you fawning or people pleasing to like what people are asking of you, but also you making choices of what is best for their healing, i.e., it is best for your healing to experience this period blood, and that is that, it is best for your healing for all of these other things that I think you're interested in exploring. Like I fully trust that the driving motivator to a lot of the content you are going to make is about healing yourself and healing others. And I think that needs to be respected for lots of people who are doing sex work because it is about collective healing. There are really lonely people out there who feel um, healed and seen and appreciated and alive in the arms or in the inbox of a sex worker, you know, like that work is has a holy aspect to it. And I think that's what you're it's like the ancient idea of it isn't just about capitalism and commodification and like, oh, this is the one thing that women could sell. It's like women could farm, women could sell a beat. You know, it's like it's not only about that. There is a sex is healing, period. As much as it can destroy, it can heal.
Yeah. I want to say, I say a lot of things to be intentionally provocative. So I'm not going to apologize to anyone that the hot baby triggered, but I'm just going to recognize and let you know that I'm provocative. So you don't know something that I don't know. I know.
The hot baby trigger. But but P.S. I do get what you're saying. I just care about your, I
No,
genuinely
and you're
care
right.
about your hot baby.
No, you're right. And like it also feels important. I was being shown an image as you were talking about this of like the amount of times I've been like primal screaming on the ground, like full body shaking, like panic attacks that almost killed me. Like this is I sound flippant, but that's part of the comedy. I have
Yeah, and as someone who's your friend, you know, I'm like I know you outside of this internet, right? So the time we've spent together, there it's like you're speaking to me, not just an audience. And so it's like you know that I know
right.
that you are not denying your pain and you are not denying the pain of others. And I think that when we say flippant things, because I say flippant things all the time too, and I am, you know, like you and I speak in hyperbole, like because why the fuck not, you know? And I think like when
autistic.
yeah, it's just like when you speak in hyperbole, it is meant to be shocking, but it's shocking to ask questions. You know, it's like you shock in order for the questions to be asked. So I don't think of you as ever being flippant. I think of you as being someone who wants to just not only identify as a victim.
Yeah. Yeah. Or I even wrote survivor in my caption today, and I only wrote that for lack of not wanting to write again and censor survivor of early childhood sexual abuse grape. I'm just sometimes so sick of writing these words. But it and a survivor always makes me think of I'm a survivor. I'm not and it almost like glamorizes surviving grape culture. And I don't love that. Like, I don't want to wear a pink pussy hat and have Survivor on a t-shirt that I'm wearing. Like, it's just not my brand. Like, to each their own. But it is true. Like, you do have to survive this shit. And then, like, every single day, the same patterns are showing up because time is an illusion and the mind is mapping onto the body and vice versa. And the quantum field is responding to our quantum output. And there is this communication happening. And so I do feel like every day is Groundhog Day. You know, we are kind of living the same day over and over again with different things that we have to do. And I am curious constantly about the way that survivors of trauma meet their life because these patterns, whether it was like early childhood complex trauma or complex trauma that happened later, like any form of CPTSD, which is like an intense amount of trauma that happened to the mind body nervous system and immediately changed neural pathways, and like this way of self-recognizing and identifying that like just fractures everything. I think there's always the investigation of like, how do I meet the invitation of this moment? Whether it be someone asking you to like go to lunch or someone wanting to pay you to work with you and you actually want to charge more or whatever it is. We're like in this constant boundary setting. And in terms of the healing, which I do feel deeply connected to, there was this one guy in my DMs, this was maybe a year ago, where he was responding, and this was before I started Serafina Supernova. I had my Blood, Bone, and Honey Instagram account, and this is like my business witch Oracle channeling mystery school account. And he was just responding to every story with like these inappropriate messages. And I don't want to say inappropriate like as a blanket statement, like inappropriate for what the content was that I was putting out. Like nowhere was
Oh,
there.
was this the one who came from me?
Yes, which
Oh God, he was
meant,
annoying. Yeah.
well, actually,
But I know you did an
no,
alcohol.
I have a deep affinity and like tenderness towards him now. But I feel like this story is a good example of kind of like the behind the scenes healing that can happen, because I don't think this is an isolated incident. And obviously,
Yeah.
each person can decide how they want to deal with messages like this. This is just how I decided to.
But
So
I wanted just sorry to interrupt you, but like what Sarah is saying, because I experienced it too, it was inappropriate to the context of what was being posted.
yeah,
It's like you could do anything. I would do a video about, I don't like, truly anything. Even like, I think for me, the reason why I blocked him is like some of them were videos that I had my daughter in.
yeah,
And to be sexualized, regardless of like what the fuck you're saying, even if you're just like wearing a hoodie and like you're not trying to like provoke sexual attention in any way. And to have someone just keep meeting you with sexual attention when you're like not presenting that
not
is extra
consensual.
annoying. Yeah.
It's not consensual. And this is where I'm also interested in, like, through my sex work, being a sex and consent and autonomy educator, and ultimately a sovereignty educator. That is like the thing that I'm most interested in over anything in the entire world is sovereignty.
Yeah.
Within an ecosystem, of course, of care and support. So he was sending me these messages and I was not responding. And then eventually I was like, I don't even know what I would write out to this guy. I just got to send him a voice note that's
Yeah.
just straight up like, yo, these messages are making me feel uncomfortable, not because of what you're saying, but because this is not the invitation I'm putting forward. And also for you to expect me to read these messages for free is so inappropriate. And like in direct opposition, I think I was like talking a lot about grape culture at the time, and it was like posting about Scotland and being at the Fringe Festival and all these things. I'm like, I'm literally talking about how I am a survivor of abuse and I'm making this work about grape culture, and you're responding to these stories with explicit messages that you think somewhere maybe in your psychology I'm flattered to receive, that you're the only one sending these, that you're somehow special. No, sir. But I actually didn't say it like that. That was like my internal experience. The message that I sent was very like, look, I don't want to shame you because I get it. Like, there's a lot going on here, but this is not the platform. This is not the invitation. I might have a platform in the future. I invite you to like, stay tuned and follow. But for now, like, no, don't do this. And I think because I was like, I'm not trying to shame you. I don't want you to feel shame. Like, I don't believe in shame. I actually think shame is a program that we all need to like individually and collectively divest from and not perpetuate. But this is making me uncomfortable. This is not what this is about. Please stop. And he sent me a message that was like, I totally understand. I'm so sorry, whatever. And then I didn't hear from him for a while. And then I got another message. Maybe this was a couple months ago on Serafina Supernova. And he told me that he had been going through a divorce at the time and was just feeling like really lost. And how my message, because it was like compassionate and I didn't shame him, like he really took time to reflect and like reflect on his
Mhm.
behavior. Now, who knows if that's actually true, but I'm choosing to believe that he actually did that. Like he wouldn't take the time to send me this message. Why would he if that's not actually a part of his personal practice at this time? And I was like, sick dick, to quote you. I was like,
Mm.
sick. I love that this man is self-reflecting, and this is how we heal, I think, or one way that we can heal by not perpetuating the shame. And then he actually is one of my first subscribers to the OnlyFans, and I am accepting custom content requests in the DMs. And it was so interesting because he was like, I want to ask for something, but like I'm nervous. I feel too ashamed and embarrassed to ask. And I was like, oh, you got a shame thing. Like you already paid me to subscribe. You're already in my DMs. You already sent me these insane messages, but you're
Yeah.
to ask for what you want. My trauma practitioner is ding, ding, dinging. And I see an opportunity for me to make money and for you to fucking heal. And so I was like, there's actually nothing you could say to me or request that would shock me, that would disgust me, other than like, pedophilia. There's truly not, like, the extent of my kink vocabulary is so wide and vast. So just ask. And then what he ended up asking for was like, I'd already been asked for it and it wasn't even that crazy. And I was like, yeah, that's coming. Pun intended. You know, that'll be like a higher cost. It'll be like a pay-per-view tip-in situation, but like that's coming. And I could feel when we had that exchange, and maybe this is a projection, but I am super psychic, psychic show pony. I could like feel the like bubble of like shame just like like dispersing. Like the like shame feel to me feels like, if you're not watching, I'm like crunching my hands to my face, like squeezing my face. It feels like a constriction of breath and self-permission. It feels like self-censorship. So if I can, through Seraphina Supernova's vault and sex work, like disperse shame and alchemize it, then I'm doing my job. I also want to pay my debt off. I also want an assistant.
Yeah, I think that's a really beautiful story. I love that story. And I know this person because I was also receiving messages. And so I do honor your like patience because um I think that you did I think you did a genuine service. Like I do believe that that made an impact. And I think the thing that's like, if I were to take like a meta look at the two of us as like as two people, we approach the world differently. I think you do kind of like explore sexuality a lot more than I do. But I think that what men are confused by when it comes to us is our insistence on our own humanity. And even like when I think back to the podcast we did about orgasms and like that wasn't like sexy. Like I mean I don't know how it just wasn't like, oh, this is some sexy podcast that I'm gonna like jerk off to. There was like maybe some sexy moments, but a lot of it was like not. And I think with the insistence that we both have about like continually discussing trauma is like not sexy, but it is humanizing. It is important. And I think that like this is another reason why I am like trusting you within this process is that I think that you are keeping your humanity on the forefront of your own consciousness and of your own like desire to relate to people. And the more you're keeping your humanity on the forefront, the more actually healing it's going to be for these like um men who leave the comments. I can't, what is the comment? OnlyFans detected, opinion rejected. I think that you are going to challenge that archetype. And I know that like for for myself and like my male fans, you know, because I do have male fans, I don't think their interest in me is like sexual. You know, maybe like they would fuck, you know, if I was like, I think, well, I'm just going to say my analysis and I'm ready to hear yours after. I think they would fuck, but I think there is something else going on, which is like, oh, this is a person I would fuck, but don't have to fuck and can listen to. Like, I think I am giving, like, it's like that concept of a friend zone as if being friend zoned is an insult versus like, oh, I'm friend zoned and I have this opportunity to be friends with a woman. And I have this opportunity to like be exposed to the female psyche that I wouldn't otherwise have. It's so interesting how like being friend zoned is seen as like some demotion rather than like an opportunity. Like if guys are like, hey, I'm talking to this girl, how can I talk to her better, or what can I do, like the advice I can give men about being a better partner, about getting more pussy, about like, you know, like being more sexually satisfying to women. I mean, I want, well, now that I think about it, now I'm like, I want to start my podcast of your female best friend who will give you all the things you need to know about how to be around women. But you get what I'm saying?
Yes.
So it's like, I do think even this OnlyFans podcast we just made, like, there is an insistence of our own humanity that we keep kind of circling back to. Okay, now what were you going to say?
Okay, many things. So, okay, I'm going to say this first. Someone asked me if you were starting an OnlyFans, and I was like, I'm the slut of the brand. Okay.
So wait, was it a man or a woman?
It was a man. It was,
Okay.
I also want to say, May.
I love that we're that connected. That like, oh, you're doing it. Donnie must be doing it as well.
Truly, I'm expecting more requests. I'm like, no, but you can connect to her through me because we are twin flames and we are one. I'm just taking on this karma in this lifetime. The other thing is I pray to the fucking goddess that some hot fucking lesbians and queer people subscribe to this OnlyFans. I know it's going to be a lot of men. I've already made peace with that. I am okay with that. I love that. I am here to breastfeed all of the men through my cosmic mommy milk and agenda. And also, please bring me the rich lesbians. For the love of goddess, I need this healing for my pansexual self. The other thing I want to say is your arm muscles look insane. And I think a huge difference between us
Thank you.
is like I am flaunting it. I am putting on the lipstick. I have my tits out. I am just like in that energy all the time. You selectively choose when you are and are not in that energy. And it is really shapeshifty and fun. And I think you confuse people because I think
Yeah.
and I feel like under your like comedy mentorship and guidance, I'm also starting to explore this as an option where like you can be the ugliest version of yourself and also the fucking hottest bitch version of yourself, and you can be all of it. And there's no like discrepancy between the ugliest, like clowny, like decrepit version, a disgusting, like I'm thinking about you. I mean, not that this is decrepit, but like you talking about shitting into the thing, your poop test for your gut thing. You may think that is decrepit and disgusting, but 100% I guarantee you that there were men jerking off to that video because that's just how the human psyche is. And so I do think one of the most charming things about you is your naivete to your own sex appeal. And truly, I've been in rooms with you so many times. Usually I'm the one in the room that people are trying to fuck. The amount of people I've seen trying to fuck you, and I am like not a jealous person, but I have been like, damn, Tony got that. Speaking of je ne sais quoi, it's an essence, it's dripping off of her. And I think it's because truly, like, you don't like want or need it, and it's not at the center of like how you're drawing people towards you. It's just like a facet. And yeah, just witnessing you in that is informing me. I think it informs the desperation inside of me, informed by the trauma, and helps me heal. And I think I had to birth more of my inner clown and my inner man before I personally could do sex work from a place of sovereignty.
I love that. And can I give you an assignment? Even though I'm not going to join your OnlyFans, but I would like to make a content request.
Did not.
My content request is I would love to see you do some work that like is not classically hot, that just like is really because like there is like the I mean, I'll know you can but like I think it'd be fun and healing and interesting and exciting to like really also play with the boundaries of like hotness and nakedness and humor and bodies and stuff. And I think that like that, especially for like your super fans, like to just like maybe like see as many folds as possible, but like also a puss, like just like is this strange, like, and then maybe a weird face. Like I think that was actually
Maybe
a really
you
great
can direct a
impression.
video.
I would love to. That would be really fun.
I
think that would be really cool.
Because it's like
Okay.
making groups funny. The one last thing I want to say on the healing front before we end is I did release a video this morning that I edited in CapCut to be exactly 3 minutes and 33 seconds long. I'm like playing with my G-string, I'm playing with my boa, I'm playing with my tits. But then at the end, I decide to pull an angel card. I'm completely sober in this video. I'm not even like high or anything. I decide to, and also I've been told recently you can't just like say hi when you're referencing weed. I wasn't stoned. Someone gave me that note actually at our last comedy show. He was like an addict in recovery. He was like, if you're talking about weed, girl, don't say hi, like say stoned. So I wasn't even stoned when I made this video. But I did just have like the impulse to pull an angel card. And so then I like shuffle the deck. I'm like naked in the G-string tits out boa. I'm just like And then one of the archangels comes out and I like do a little reading about how I'm a healer and how they're a healer and we're all healers.
Obsessed.
And it's not funny, but it is serious. And it is funny because I'm being serious. So we're starting to, I was like, is this hot? And then I was like, actually, I don't care. This is who I am. So
No, I love you pulling tarot. I love you doing healings. I love you doing clowning. I love you being yourself within this context. And what I want to call into the timeline, that you develop a fan base of people who really honor you for your complexity, for your intelligence, for your tarot readings, for your healing, for your clowning, and you have a community of people who genuinely are supporting you and all of your endeavors, and who are supporters of your work, and who are supporters of your comedy, and who get you on a deep cellular level and are going to like fully embrace you as the complex human that you are. And I think that the community that you are going to attract are going to be like really cool people that deserve you.
oh, that made me cry.
Yeah, that's my that's my spell I've cast.
See that
Wait.
part? Oh my gosh, you have to go watch on YouTube to see this. What is happening?
Sometimes it happens for me, but today it just needs to happen for you.
That was amazing. I like when you raise the hand and it hand raises.
Oh yeah, totally. Well, I love you. I'm happy for you. I'm proud of you. I'm excited for this journey, and I'm really calling in just like a dope ass community to support you.
Thanks, girl. May we also get an admin assistant for Gnarly Girls through this. And then we can like release more content for you guys, like get merch up, like really actually run the Patreon in a way that we want to, because someone else is posting for us, because we're just doing too many things in a day. Tony and I are spread like butter on toast, and we really try to show up in all the ways that we can. And if you are subscribed to the Patreon, thank you so much. We actually used our first payout to subscribe to this new software where we're pitching the podcast and each other for other podcasts to expand this podcast and brand. So it is because of you that we were able to make that like first little digital investment, if you will, digital marketing investment, and to much more. And if you'd like to join the Patreon, I will link it below. I'm going to drop some new content there. Not spicy content. If you want spicy content, I will also drop my OF in the description of this one. And then Tony and I did make a video corresponding to the Orgasms podcast, giving our top tips on how to O. And I wouldn't say it's spicy content, but it's borderline. And you should subscribe to the Patreon purely to access that. I mean, that's exciting.
No, it's such good
It's
advice.
good advice. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
I love you. Bye.